Hello, how's it going? How's everybody doing? Come on down to my little spot. I need to do like a little intro song so I can be like, oh, hey guys, come on down to my little spot, my little whatever, something. Anyway, did I put this right? Wait. How's everybody doing? All right, let's see here. Okay, how's it going? My name's Rocio. We were here yesterday. Well, we were talking about how we pass on our like pain to our kids, and we don't really like do it like consciously. We fall into like the same cycles that we've been trying to run from, right? So if you have any questions or anything, let me know. I want you guys to tell me. Oh, I don't know how to do this. Okay, so so I wanted to talk about today. We're going to talk about like I said, we were talking about passing our pain, and today we're going to talk about the mask that we wear, hiding it all, right? And we're going to speak. I'm speaking as a kid from like, and who's also experiencing it as a step parent right now. And not just that, but I like to observe like my surroundings, right? Sorry, I'm always like so unprepared, but it's part of my ADHD. And like I said, speaking from a kid who experienced it firsthand, and then who's also hello guys, thank you for joining. Who's also experiencing it as I'm going through like being a step parent, and not just that, but like observing. I want to know if you guys. I'm gonna try to post this poll. I don't know if I'm able to, but I want to know what you guys think. I want to know if you guys, what's it called? If you guys are mainly the one who stays quiet, the one who, I don't know how to put it, but, but the one who like, what's it called? The one who normally says what's on your mind, or are you the one that just sucks it up? Like, that's kind of like what I want to know. If you normally suck it up, or if you're the one that speaks out, or if you're like normally the black sheep of the family, which is what I am. Sorry if you heard my stomach, but anyways, the mass where everything is great, pretty much. That's like the kid that says that, you know what, I'm good in the hood. I don't need anything. I can handle it. Because go ahead and share if you guys have somebody that's probably going through this. But if you're the one that usually says, you know what, nothing bothers me, I'm good, you laugh it off. I know that's what I used to do. I used to just joke around about whatever nonsense was going on in my life, right? Um, and I guess with that, it kind of created a sense of, or the thought that I don't care about certain things. I do. It's just that sometimes we get really used to those masks that we wear that we don't portray. We get really used at masking it, that we don't exhibit our emotions so easily. And then that creates like more issues in the long run, right? Thank you guys for joining. Lisa, Destiny, Stephanie. You learned at an early age that your feelings weren't safe, pretty much. Nobody wanted to hear them. So now that you're older, you swallow them. You swallow them because, thank you so much, Destiny, for joining me and for liking. Go ahead and follow if you aren't. I'm going to be posting daily. You're actually drowning, right? And worry, anxiety, and everything else. So when do you say it the most? Is it usually when you're around your family, when you're at work, when you're with your partner? Like, when is it that it comes out the most? Like, I'm fine, have to show up for you. Then there's like the all together, right? And this looks like success, but inside you're like drowning. And that usually happens where you have everything, but you're still not happy. You're like literally on the last bit of your energy. You're rushing through everything and you're not really living. You're making good money. You're making progress. Maybe you paid down your debt. I don't know. But if you think about it, everything, hello, Young. Thank you for joining. Go ahead and like and follow if you guys are interested in this. So this is like, you're running on fumes and everything has to be perfect, right? Everything has to be controlled. Can literally break you. And you don't even realize that. You don't realize that until things are going down. Where, let's say, for example, you're at work and you're making good money. Everything is awesome. You're all set to get all your commission. Hello. And then all of a sudden, you get a bad survey. You get a bad survey, and then those 10 grand that were going to come up to you turn out to be like 7. And then on top of that, taxes, right? You're exhausted from like holding it together, and you don't even realize it, but that exhaustion, everybody that interacts with you, your kids see it. You can tell me 100 times that you and your partner, hello, Monica, that you and your partner are probably working it out and you guys are staying together because of the kid. But then if you ask the kid can tell in a heartbeat. Emotions, when there's something wrong, they know how to read you too. They were born from you. You literally had an umbilical cord that was feeding them. And everything that you felt throughout that pregnancy, they felt. And they were born with all those things. And this is why I say, like, it's good to regulate yourself, because to check yourself before you wreck yourself. No, because we pass it on and we don't even realize how we're passing it on. We're so stuck on the fact that we're pretty good at hiding this. You sometimes are a horrible liar, and that's why you get caught all the time. You know? Hey, Kathy. So, hello, Ash. Roke. So one little thing can like literally break your whole thing, right? And then you pass it on, your kids see it, your partner see it. And then it's like, there's a moment where you're like, damn, I'm taking care of everything. Like, I'm doing everything. And it's not, you think it's not enough, but you're just worn out. And is this one like control everything? Or are you just masking so that everybody thinks you're okay and you're functioning normally because you don't want to talk about your issues? And the sad part is that when we do that, we stay stuck. Nothing's going to come out, right? Because in the end, just like the truth always comes out, nothing's going to come out right, because in the end, frustration builds up because you're not truly happy. You're always thinking in the back of your mind of all the other things that you could be doing, all the other things that, I don't know, maybe the things that you wish you were doing. Maybe you're at a job that you're not finding any type of purpose. And I'll get into the whole jobs section another day, but you take it all, everything that you hold and you bottle and you think you're protecting people of, you actually end up reflecting it with your reactions. Hello, Rose and Josie. Thank you for joining. So what do? You start masking, right? You start masking and you start being invisible. You don't even realize it. You're putting your emotions aside because you want everything to come out right. You don't want anything to break the nice little dance you got going on, right? But when your needs don't matter to you, when you set them for you and give you what you need. Because in all reality, I'm a very literal person. I can't read your mind. I can sense what you're feeling, and then maybe I'll be right, maybe I'll be wrong. But you know what? It's not my job to guess. Especially if we're adults. If we can communicate and it's something else. But it's different when it's your partner, right? But what about when you're out in public? What about when you're like, hey there, Kristen, dealing with a stranger? It's not, they don't know you like that to have to carry your stuff. You know what I mean? So not mattering to you or not being important to you, you reflect that, and then people are like, well, this person's okay being used, so I'm just going to use them and abuse them. And from a very early age, you start to, right? You always have something to give in order to make your presence noticed or to make your presence valid. And basically, I don't know if this happens in other cultures, but in the Hispanic culture, it's we don't make trouble, we don't ask, we're there, we're the kids, and we just stay put, right? I always had a problem with that, and you don't even realize it, but it drains you. It drains, like, when you get used to speaking up, the silence makes you suffocate. Like the words are choking you. I don't know how to explain it, but that knot that you feel hearing you wanting to scream, to yell it out, but you can't because you're scared of the consequences. And one of the things that, and I always relate this to like my previous jobs and whatnot, because most of my like life skills probably came from that, because I was so sucked into my job, my work, my always making, I was always trying to make money, and I was always trying to that my coworkers were, when in reality they were in a much further step in life than I was. And technically, when we don't allow ourselves to have, or we don't fulfill our own needs. Hello guys, thank you for joining. When we don't fulfill our own needs, like I said, we allow everybody to make it okay for them to not even give or try that extra mile, for us. In relationships, we suffer because nobody knows what you actually need. You don't even know what you actually need. And if it's either control, being invisible, or like you're quietly allowing yourself to name your own needs as, I'm just going to stay quiet, or I'll say yes to everything. But in reality, they should know that I don't mean this. You see how off that sounds? Like, I don't know, but for me, I used to take it in a, let's say I got in an argument with my significant other, right? When you're in a relationship, when you're in a female relationship, we both want the same things, okay? We both want us to be sought, like looked for, right? In a regular heterosexual relationship, let's be honest, I'm an old school gay, so I respect everybody. I'm all about there's only two, you know? It's just either you're gay or three, you're gay, you're bi, you're not. But we have two girls super emotional and two girls who want things without expressing the need to want things. That's the thing about females, that we're very manipulative, and we're very we know how to get away with it, right? Oh man, my stomach is just being so loud today. But we think that people can read us. We think that people can guess what we're thinking. We think that people go ahead and like, guys, if you're joining, just give it a like, follow, whatever rocks your boat. But we think that people can read our minds, and that's probably one of the biggest fails in a male, like in a whenever, or the biggest thing that girls complain about guys, right? It's because you didn't know that I wanted it. Well, because girl, there's a saying in Spanish, al mudo nadie lo escucha. If you don't talk, nobody's gonna know. But we're taught that if we talk, we inconvenience other people. And you need to start learning that it's not a habit of like, my needs are not important. They are important. But your mentality, you're conditioned to think, you train that little voice again. Because keep in mind that everything that you went through, you can't even be mad at your parents. Because everything that you went through, it was the best that they knew. You have to look back into their childhood, how they were raised, to answer your own questions, or to be able to get those little hints of like, okay, I understand why they were being this way with me. Because you know what? In my case, my dad never received genuine love. Like he never, I don't think I ever saw my grandpa or my grandma like hugging my aunts and uncles in a way that it was like, oh, look at this, you know, the kids are like, they're showing love. The way of showing love was, I'm gonna pick on you, I'm gonna make you mad, I am gonna joke with you, I am gonna make fun of your insecurities. And it's crazy because like growing up, they probably had the most insane fights ever. Like one time my dad was thrown through the front of our living room window because they got in a fight over something. The next day they were talking like nothing happened. But there was this mean old board in the front in the living room because they broke the damn window because I don't know, him and my uncle. But and it's crazy because I see how my brother and my sister were, how we were together when we were growing up. We had to grow up very early because when my parents separated, my mom, mind you, my mom had never worked a day in her life since the day I was born, because my dad was a mean old macho guy that was like, you know what? I make the bread, I make the, you know, but you just got to wake up at 2 a.m. when I come home from being drunk out and about, and got to make me some tortillas de harina. You got to make me some this and that. And my mom was always like, yes, man. Yes, sir. I got you, boo. So the feeling of me being insecure, being a female, and being portrayed as something weak came from watching my mom being so submissive. And I don't blame her, like I said, because she was conditioned. She decided to leave. I was so happy. I didn't see it coming, to be honest. And there's a lot of things that I don't remember. Apparently, I would talk to myself. But then when I went to the psychologist, and it's crazy because I would always, like, never in a million years did I imagine myself doing any of this. I would think it was cringe. And I still think it's cringe. Like today, I was supposed to do this at 3 because I'm trying to be consistent. As I'm trying to teach you guys how to detach yourself from from feelings that are not yours, guilt that is not yours. I'm also trying to show up for myself because that I know people. I was in a place here in town where everybody and their mom, you guys are joining in the chat. You just joined in. Go ahead and like, follow. Leave a man blaming the kids, but kids are better. Yes, exactly. That's right. I honestly begged my mom to like. There were so many times that I would tell my mom, why did you pick him as my dad? Like why did it have to be him? And I was like 4 or 5. Like I didn't understand. And I remember I would get mad and angry that she would tell me like, "Pues es que if it wasn't him, you wouldn't be here." And I was like, "Well, I didn't want to be here. I'd rather not be here. I'd rather be born from the dirt than to be born from him." Because he used to taunt me all the time. Oh, Ira Marimacha. He used to call me Marimacha all the time. He used to tell my mom that I was going to be 16 and pregnant or probably a lesbian. He got one right. But if he really would have gotten to know me, that bond that he was trying to build with my brother of being a mechanic, he would have found it with me. Because he never taught me how to change a tire. I never learned how to do an oil change. And when I tried to get my aunts and my uncles to teach me, it was like, ¿para qué? Si aquí tienes a tus tíos. And it's like, yeah, but what if I'm caught out in the middle of nowhere? And that's what I mean. Like, we try to make our kids, we overcompensate with our kids. And I'm saying because my mom tried to overcompensate with me. And I can tell you that it damaged me more than it helped me. Because I'm an adult not fucking knowing how to do an appointment for the doctor. Or being too scared to call about a service, to set up service. I don't even know how I ended up renting this place, you know? So many things that I did that I didn't know how to do them, but I had to learn. So now whenever I see kids that talk for them for whatever thing, it's like, girl, are you really? Like, yes, I love the way that you love your kid. But what about when you're not there? What is he going to do? How is he going to act? What questions is he going to ask? And I can tell you from firsthand that I was in a place where you had to know what you were signing. You had to know what you were filling out. Because this is a matter of your kids or not. This is a matter of you keeping your kids or not. And people would trust somebody to fill out paperwork that half of the time was wrong and charge them half an arm and a leg. But they wouldn't take the time to say, you know what, I'm going to read this because this is important. Because if I'm asked out in public, I need to. Why? Because it goes again to like the whole, we are not parents. There's always going to be the parent that overcompensates and then the parent that follows the same other steps. And neta que I miss you, girl. And feel comfortable being on camera or whatever, like we can do a phone call, whatever you want. But I'm opening MySpace so that you can do you guys remember MySpace? Anyways, I'm opening this spot for you guys so that you can feel comfortable in talking about your issues because we've all been there. And there's many situations that happen in different versions. For somebody, it can be death. For somebody, it could be the loss of a boyfriend or a breakup or whatever. But it doesn't mean that it's more important than the other person's pain because every mind is different. Every mind is a different world. And there's different main characters in each mind. And maybe the end of the world, whatever is the end of the world to you, can be the end of the world to somebody else in a different version. That's why you cannot judge because you don't know when you're going to find yourself there. You don't know when you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to need help. Yes. One parent always tries to compensate. And firsthand with my dad and my mom, because my mom always tried to include by letting the other. I've noticed or I've seen that when it's divorced parents, one parent try to compensate by letting the kids do what they want, and then when they're in trouble, they go crying. Yes. That's one thing that I'm trying to break here. Like the whole estás llorando, and then it's like you give them what they want, right? In this case, in my situation with my mom was always trying to include my dad's side of the family. But because I'm the black sheep and I look just like my dad, so it's like they hated me, but they loved me, you know? I look just like my dad, and it's like we have the same personality shit. Like I said, I would have been a mechanic too. Go to school for it, but he was stuck on being an alcoholic, and that shit drives you insane. Need help, or I'm fucked up, or whatever. Exactly. Many people won't admit when you say no, and then people get mad. That's them reacting to the role that they played in your life, because you're making them see that they hurt you. They're always gonna have that protective, like, pues es que tú. I'm gonna tell you, first off, the whole meeting. When my parents separated, my mom tried to include my grandparents. My mom was the one that would reach out to my grandparents to tell them how we were doing, because they would not reach out. They were mad at her because she decided to leave, because he needed her so much in order to get out of his habits. But it didn't matter what happiness or what damage my mom was going through, right? Or what emotional damage she was going through. And let me tell you, she cut her hair every single time. It was like almost a skin fade, because she had all this anxieties and all this blame. And I blamed myself for many years, because I remember clearly that argument where he didn't let me watch. Get this, okay? I was watching TV in the living room. Homeboy came, and I changed it because I knew he was going to start bitching, right? So, in her bedroom, I start watching The Simpsons at 5. He comes in and just turns off the TV. And then I'm like, okay. So I close the door, turn back on the... He comes back in, does this like 3 or 4 times, right? By the 4th time, I have this respect communication, because he would always taunt me and say, oh, tu mamá es mía. And then I'd be crying, and then now I have like problems with my mom dating, because I feel like people are going to take her away from me. And now I'm having a big old situation with my sister and her, because I feel like I don't have the same support. Anyways, that's another story. But anyways, he ends up getting mad because I shut the door in his face and I told him to leave me alone. He takes off his belt. He hits me. My mom was making tortillas in the kitchen. To my mom's room. I don't know how, but we end up in my bedroom. I was the one that would always get beat a lot because of my mouth. And I saw my dad. He never hit my mom, but I saw her pull her hair and then just like tap her face and was like, "Tú no te metas." And then she just ended up hugging me and she was rocking me. I was crying because I had this mean mark like right here on my leg, like right here on my leg. And I was like, Mom, can... And I don't remember exactly how long after or what happened, but I remember I wasn't supposed to say anything. And I had to tell him not to say anything. And we ended up coming to San Luis. I had never been, I had been in school in Mexico, but not like enough to know how to read and write. So I go into 6th grade and I'm getting bullied left and right because my hair was short. And at that time, being gay was... On top of that, my dad ends up getting deported because he was doing a lot of things he shouldn't have been doing. And his behavior was blamed on my mom because my mom wasn't supporting him emotionally, I guess. I don't know. But she would still check out for him. She loved that man until he died. That was her first husband, her first boyfriend, her first everything. And I remember he would come over to see us because my mom would beg him to come. And he'd be like, "Ay, mijos, ¿cómo están?" I kid you not, it was on the dot 5 minutes. My sister was lucky because she was his favorite. So she would get an extra 5 minutes. But I never felt like I knew my dad. I never felt like comfortable to hug him. I hated hugging him because it was very like very stiff, you know? Yeah, exactly, Mari. Like, we all were going through like a hardcore time, but we just wanted to forget about it. That we were so wrapped up in our... And I always felt like I wasn't enough because my mom had to search for my dad so that he would come over and see us, right? And for the longest time, I was like, damn, like I would see my sister crying about her toys because she was she was spoiled as fuck. She was a little princess. She was always like in her PJs with her makeup on, right? With her lips all red. And she liked dressing like Minnie Mouse or whatever, like the little slippers. And she used to tell my mom, like, Mira ma, like I had all these before and now I only have these. Because obviously my mom was not able to afford 3 kids. My dad never helped her financially. And if she ever asked for help because it was like the last option, I could tell that she felt humiliated. That phone call was just a turning in our stomach, having to call my grandparents. Because obviously we couldn't ask my dad. And then when we got older, and he got scared, I guess. I like, why don't you just stay? I was like, it's easier for my brother to help you if you need something, if you're sick, because homeboy would get high and then he would come out of it and he would get sick, right? So he would end up in the hospital. But then he would get kicked out of hospitals left and right because of his attitude. But as I grew older, all that anger, I realized that he was just a hurt little kid too. They used to lock him in a freaking trailer when he was crying for hours. So how was he going to show me how he loved me when all he learned was pain? He learned neglect was masked as love. Like, think about it. Your parents are only doing what they know. Like right now, I love my mom to death, and she thinks that I blame her for everything that happened to me. No, I don't. I realized I have mommy issues. Yes, I do. Because regardless of what happens, my mom was the parent that raised me, and I'm always going to try to get her approval. And the day that she says, she thinks I'm a crackhead, that I'm like doing drugs in the corner of the street, I could be doing great in life. But if I garden, that's already like a downfall for me. That's already a gateway for me to go into misery. Or, hey mom, like a friend messaged me and they said they found a job and I helped them out and I changed their mindset. That fuels me. Like, this is the time. I don't have a job right now because I was a very like for 10 years, and I really needed the change because it was driving me insane, literally insane. I didn't know how traumatized I was until I left that environment. And as I left, I experienced another environment that was a little bit more free than where I was. I had more free time, and I liked that free time. And I was going to school throughout this whole time, and I'm like, you know what? I need to build something that helps people because I've been there. I know what it feels like to not have resources or to not know where to go ask for help or how embarrassing it is to ask for help. And then on top of that, when people make you feel like shit because you're asking for help. So I was like, no, I'm trying to do something because I wish I would have heard somebody say that they're going through the same thing. Instead of watching everybody on TikTok or on Facebook or whatever, having the time of their lives where I'm here miserable in my room crying myself to sleep. That's where you have the choice. That's where I thought, like, you know what? Exactly. And that's what I started doing with these kids. I really around. And it's crazy because, like, I used to be a dick. So, like, as I got older, I started being softer and I started understanding more. And in the areas that I was an expense or whether it was a personal matter. And it made me understand both sides. And sometimes like those 5 seconds, those 5 extra minutes that you take with the customer or whatever, it means the world to them. Even a year later after I left the automotive industry, like I still have people calling me and asking me for help. Shit, I have one of the people that was a customer calling me and is trusting me with their personal issues. An older person, like, these people have gone through situations that I have been through. That in a way, that's my mom talking. And that maybe I can talk on behalf of their kids and say, you know what, sometimes us as kids, we don't realize what our parents do. But yes, the moment that we are jerks to our parents, we feel like shit. It's fine. My mom used to say that it drove her crazy, that I would get angry and have this whole meltdown, and then I was fine 5 seconds later. And it's crazy because it wouldn't just happen with her, it would happen with relationships, with people at work. Can you hear me now? Hey, Chunky, what's up? Thank you. All right, there we are. Thank you, guys. You gotta tell me when you can't hear me, eh? Thank you, Chunky. I hadn't seen you in a while since that one time we were partying. Gotta party again, man. So, woo! Thank you. So yeah, like I honestly like I'm the live supervisor. Hell yeah, you go, girl. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Today we're talking about how we end up like making ourselves small for other people just to make like the room comfortable, right? And thank you so much. Honestly, girl, you gotta tell me when you go live too. But it's like, what do you get out of like making yourself small but wish it, want it, do it? Like the Brian Griffin. I'm sorry guys, I'm all over the place. I can be very um we can be all on point with our all the nice stuff. And oh, I also watch a lot of Family Guy, and let me tell you guys, Family Guy is not how we act with our kids, for example. And we disregard, we want what we want, and it is what it is, right? It's cool whenever you set your boundaries. It's cool whenever you say, you know what, this is what I can accept, this is what I want to accept. But it's not cool when it goes, when you're being a dick about it. When you're like, well, no. When you're limiting, I'm sorry, but it's not. And if that's what you think, then I'm sorry for you because it's not gonna happen. So like, I want to know where you guys sit. Are you usually the person that stays quiet because you don't want any arguments? And why do you? That's what I'm trying to help you guys in learning why you wear that mask. Like why? Like is it because you fear the person that you're in front of? And if you do, what's the worst that can happen? What my boss used to tell me this. What's the worst that they can do but just say no? And what is that no gonna do to you? There's another person that's gonna come in and tell you, hey, I need a transmission or whatever. Exactly. And that's probably because you had to be in survival mode 100% of the times. Am I right? Most people that observe are because we're always waiting for another person to react. We're always waiting for somebody to be mad or somebody to, for example, me, I used to not, I'm a person that likes to sing in the car. I am crazy as hell. I like to make a bunch of voices because I'm Vicente Fernandez and party here. But then I met people that weren't like that. So you're somebody that is usually the giver. You're somebody that usually helps, but you don't know how to ask for help, right? You give until you're exhausted. But if that was the case, I probably would be rotting by the time they come and look for me. sometimes it's okay to ask for help because you need that little bit of a break. Because we need to rewire, because we were taught to be dependent because our parents weren't always available for us, right? And it was always a bother if we had to ask for something. And right now, if you think about it, the generation today is completely the opposite. Man, I keep mentioning this guy, and I'm gonna find that video again. But this guy talks about how like kids go and walk after you in the bathroom, and they walk after you here and there, and they're asking a million questions. I don't ever think that I would have been able to do that with my mom. It's not time to, exactly. You learn to just like not bother anyone with your needs because everybody has their own thing going on. But we sometimes have to think back. It's nothing wrong with not asking for help. I'm usually that person. But then there was a point where, in my experience, and what got me into doing this was because I was relating to a lot of the documentaries that I was watching. And I had to stop myself and check myself because I was like, that's crazy. Like, I have felt that type of anger where you blind yourself. You're like blinded by the anger and you don't realize what you did until after the fact. And it's scary to think that somebody can be so angry that they can hurt the person that they love or a family member or something, right? But think about it. How many women are in prison right now? The other day I was watching a video of this lady that got like 40-something years in jail because she murdered her husband. She even told them the day she was going to murder him, she said, I'm going to kill you I'm going to do this on your birthday, and I'm going to have a whole ass little party for you. But she did it because he was abusive to her. He would beat her, he was making her do, and she was tired of it, but she didn't know how to leave. She didn't have an out. And the same people that were supposed to help her were the same people that were buying from him. And say, I did this because I felt free the day I decided to do it. Because I was finally going to be able to live my life with my kids. And she's like, but then the same people that were supposed to help me, the same people that I had abused and stuff. Exactly. With Jennifer Lopez. Yeah, that's exactly. And there's another movie that I watched recently that I was like, damn. Analogy? Netflix is with Jennifer Lopez. I want to say it's on Prime. You might find it on Prime or on Hulu, maybe. Let me find out. I'm going to tell you guys, there's some movies out there that are very interesting. And sometimes they look boring, but they're not. It is going to be on Hulu. You have to have a subscription, but it's on Hulu and it's on Prime. I'm watching a series sometimes. The Housemaid. But Linda, my wife, I'm pretty sure she knows, like, there's like some movies that we've seen that have left us like, dang. There's a movie called Lamb. It's on Prime. It's from the lamb is so cute. You gotta watch it. I don't even want to talk about it because it's just so cute. But anyways, the guy ends up having a kid with one of the lambs, but it's a little boy lamb. And then like he has a little face, but he has a little body with the person body. It's just a cute movie. But yeah, that's like pretty much part of like what I was trying to say the other day, that in school, the curriculum is meant to keep you at a certain level of knowledge, right? Before? Come on. Who are you fooling? Are you fooling me or yourself? And Mary Magdalene is not a whore. Apostle. She's the one that was supposed to teach us how to ascend or how to define the Jesus' life, pretty much. But we're here believing some scriptures that are written. Do I have to write it on a piece of paper for you to believe you? To believe that you're able to do more than what you give yourself? Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Because stuff. Yes. Honestly, like, think about it. Hecate was one of the symbols that started everything for me. I don't know if I mentioned this, but my teacher in eighth grade gave me an assignment because we weren't doing any work that year. She was, I don't know what was going on there, but she was probably done with school. And we had to get graded for the creatures, right? And she assigned us all a god. And she assigned me, I remember seeing like this lady on a cliff type of thing with some dogs in a purple, like it was black with purple or something. She had like some sort of like something, right? And it always like resonated. I actually loved my paper so much and the story of this girl because I remember she was, I referred to her, or I remembered her as being the female version of Hades, right? And I remember the word like Persephone and all that stuff, or the name. So I never really looked into it. Fast forward to when I'm starting all these things, and then out of nowhere she starts coming out everywhere. And then I'm like, okay, so then I start reading more about it, and it's like, what the hell? Like, I'm usually the person that tells you, like, I'm probably gonna joke about it, but I don't know, that's kind of like the friend that I had before. And it's really weird because a lot of things have been happening lately. And I feel like recently I've learned are not the people that I knew. And it's all like unfolding in real time for me. And like I said, like this whole nonsense is in my face. It doesn't, yeah. Like, who was, I always say, like, people are trying to get me. And everybody thinks I'm crazy. But I'm not. I'm not, because you know what? Yesterday, out of nowhere, I got a really weird message from a friend. Um, no, the thing is that I always eat the same thing. And like it hadn't been like this before. Like I know I have my little here and there, and I know it's like, oh, okay, I've been eating a lot of chocolate. Right, but it was like a not like a cyst. It was really bad. And unexpected person. And you pick it up. What is it that you pick up? The cheese? The cheese and cheese man. No, but I just kept getting like telling me that, like, and it was like weird. I kept getting random messages from random accounts saying like, "Oh, you need a reading and this and that." And I'm like, "Is this how it is on Facebook where people just reach out to you?" Um. Oh yes, but you know it's crazy because I pick up that it would not get off, and then after I found out, like this is the first time that I was able to clean it up and it stayed clean and it's gone and it doesn't hurt anymore. We're twins right now. Yes, and you know what's crazy? That my wife too, she gets like the same in the same spots. Right now we came home and there was like a mess in her things, and it was open in a page that said hi that she doesn't remember writing and I don't remember writing either. And I have a friend that used to tell me that too. Well, I have a friend and things that I never told her before. And it would be right on point to the point that she would tell me that it was like memories that weren't hers, right? And she's always known when I'm not doing well. She's always known when I'm doing well. She expected my phone call when my grandma passed. Um, I don't actually. I don't have too sensitive skin because I don't always wear lotion, you know? Um, but yeah, she used to tell me like, hey, your grandmother, your great, she told me about a great grandma that I'd never talked to her about, and she described her on point. And then I showed her a picture. She was like, yeah, she was actually wearing the same dress. Um, but anyways, so this friend and I have been on and off because she has somebody that doesn't like me, or I have somebody that doesn't like her, whatever. Why? Because our friendship has always been, we've always been very close. Like, I used to call her my fortune cookie. And I'm kind of scared about talking about it right now because the message I got was kind of creepy. But anyway, so these last couple of weeks, like I was saying, it was hard for me to be consistent because I had the energy, I just couldn't get myself moving. And I felt like everything, and the second I'm about to walk out, they're gone. And it would take me like a whole 30 minutes to find them. Little things would happen, right? And when I started doing these, the whole TikTok nonsense happened that servers were down or whatever. Well, last night I got a message from my friend, and she said that she hears all my little creatures telling her that I'm the no of no's, no and o of NOS, NOWS, no of no's. I actually was gonna look that up, and that she knows what I do behind her back. Pretty much like she was just angry, and it's weird because last time I saw her, I didn't feel her the same. Now, mind you, she's so smart. She had a little bit of a downfall, but she's really smart. She's lazy. That's the only words or whatever. No, yes, she has a very firm intention. She would tell me my future right on point. And it's weird because the day that I decided, you know what, I'm done procrastinating. I'm gonna do the day on Sunday. I decided I was gonna be consistent. I said I'm gonna start today because I need to get myself in a schedule. I'm still trying to figure out to be on a schedule of like time frames. Like today, I did this a little bit later because I was running a little bit behind. But I wasn't even gonna do it because it was already an hour late, and I was like, ah, fuck this, I'll just do it tomorrow. But I was like, no, I'm gonna do it because I said I was gonna do it. So I'm trying to hold myself accountable. I'm mainly everything is kind of laying out how I wanted it. And then I get a message from her saying that, talking about how she didn't want to talk to me because she knows what I do behind her back. And that my people are always telling her, making fun of her because I married her soulmates. So then I realized, damn, like this whole time, the person that I knew that I can come back like it was yesterday was actually jealous at some point and was probably the reason why all these things would happen to me. I know she is because I started having a lot of oh, because yes, that I had also changed my name to Chio. And then she's like, I was like, girl, you're scaring me. And she's like, oh, you should be scared, Chio. Bye, Chio. So I messaged, her mom, and because I'm worried. I know what that, like, oh my God, she got me to go get behind or whatever. No, I'm worried about her. I'm worried about her because I know that's not her. It's short. It's Chio is Rocio, but I was sad, but at the same time, I was excited. I was excited because I knew where it was coming from and I knew where to send it back to. And I was also sad because all the things that I was hearing about, like this person is like this and this and this. Ooh, you have a cookie for me, please. Um, and don't benefit you. She has a whole life ahead of her. She's smart. She's she's powerful as fuck. Like she can see things beyond this place, memories that are not her. Because that's where we all come from, and this place isn't forever. This place is supposed to be a mission for us to leave and not come back. So there's gonna be people, those people that tell you your future, those people that read your tarot cards, the people that tell you that you to remind you what your true purpose is. Attack from people that used to do rituals. So why all of a sudden are they bad? Who told us they were bad? Like there's so much going around right now in the world that I think the best we can do, or the least that we can do maybe, is get ourselves distracted a little bit. Find something else that makes us happy. At this point, what do you have to lose? What else in the world? And if it does, then maybe that's not where you're supposed to be. You're never going to know what your true purpose is if you don't try things. That intuition, that knot in your stomach, that's literally your body. Your body is a receiver of signals. You are connected. Whenever you go into a room and your head starts to hurt, that's you being sensitive to everything around you, all the energies that are going on around you, all the people's bad. If you're taken or not or whatever, like all those things are signs for you to pick up on, signs that you actually set for yourself, reminders of what to, reminders that you set for yourself at the right time so that you can wake up and start changing. Because if you believe that you can't change, if you believe that people have to adapt to your behavior, I feel bad for you, man. Like, you're never gonna truly reach your potential. You're never gonna cycle. Like, I didn't know how to drive it. I had never in my life driven a motorcycle, especially not supervised. And many times it wasn't the right time. But it was a day that I felt sure of myself and I said, you know what? I'm gonna do this. And I did it. And sometimes we just want to hear, just like you want to hear, no, I got you. I know you're just eating and watching. You're like, I'm gonna give me some popcorn here. But yeah, it's like, think about it. One of the things that I realized that I've always aimed for is for somebody to tell me that I'm doing a good job, or for somebody remembered, that I didn't want people to forget that I existed. And it's crazy because to like impact me, whether it was good or bad, I wanted to resonate. Right, that's everyone. But it was so bad because it's like, it made me obsessive over it, and it made me a very toxic person. And then the day that I was like, you know what, fuck that, I don't care about what people think. They can remember me or not. I learned from it, I grew from it, and I thank them for that. And I'm always going to see that person with love because they taught me something. They taught me how to be more patient. Maybe whatever problem was at the end, it's like, you know what, I had some part into that too. And only act the way they do just because they want to fuck you over. No, there was something that you also caused, or you did, to make them act that way. And it's usually insecurities. It's usually because we don't know how to communicate, because whenever people tell us that we're not doing something right, we take it as judgment or criticism, and we're not listening, we're not reading between the lines and saying, hey, these are the knowledge that you're aware, and then it's up to you what you want to do. You don't got to tell me. It's the same thing with our parents. Like when I tell my mom, hey, ¿sabes qué, ma? I just need you to tell me that I'm doing good. Or whenever you call me mom, my mom has this habit of whenever she worries, she tells me right away as if it's happening now. And she doesn't, I could talk to her for 2 days and then she'll be like, Rocio, no hiciste esto. Or Rocio, asegúrate, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, hey mom, I'm doing well. How are you doing? She never asks me. She always assumes. For Christmas, she didn't really invite me over because since I don't talk to my sister, it was easier to have a small argument with me and say, well, it's que ti nunca te time with your brother, but this year I think I want to spend it with Rocio. But then again, she tells me constantly how she worries about me and how I'm probably doing drugs and whatnot. I understand that you're worried and that it comes from a good place, but you telling me is gonna make me feel like you're criticizing me because I already am doing enough or too much to be where I am now. And you telling me the things I already know about myself brings me down, and it makes me feel like I'm not progressing. I was like, so that is the last thing that I need. I was like, I'm not trying to change you. I love you, mom, with all my heart. All I'm asking is for you to respect my boundaries, to respect my process, and to know that I am aware. Ooh, I didn't know they had cookies. Linda, did you see that? They have almond joy cookies. Can you please make an order? Man, I'm gonna have to write that. I'm gonna do it. And you know what she answered? For the first time, she didn't answer me in a freaking long ass message. I told her, I was like, Mom, you worry? You worry, and I know that you're saying it for worry, and I know that I react as if I'm mad, or I react angry, but I was like, Mom, you gotta think about it. I don't talk to you for the whole day, and then I talk to you, and you're telling me. So I would always tell her, oh my God, it's because you're not taking. But this time that I took a deep breath and freaking just let her marinate her answer, reread it, readjust, dissect it, and understand, well, she's not gonna freaking listen to me if I'm always gonna be not making out words. And I hope that she's like aware, that she truly is aware that what I'm doing is fulfilling for me. Like, it feels good to help. I did it at first when I was working, but then eventually as I got to know people, I realized, oh man, it's gonna be this, that we don't realize, that we start reflecting, you know, in that little moment of anxiety. But I'm gonna get back to you guys right now. We'll get a little bit deeper into this, and then if you guys want to chit chat about anything else, I'll be back. I'm gonna have to do this a little bit later because I started too late today. I wanted to start at 2. I'm gonna start doing these at 2. If you guys want to chit chat, thank you so much. Chunky, it was good seeing you. Mariwas, thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you all for joining. I'll see you guys later, okay? Go eat, please. Get something to snack on.